Our work is tied to connecting people to place. And you could argue that this is the most important place in Cleveland from a historic standpoint. This is where Cleveland began.
When I think about Canal Basin Park, it's a great central park in the heart of the flats on our river. It is ultimately the trailhead and the one missing link on the towpath that needs to get done.
Canal Basin Park didn't fully make sense until there was the Towpath Trail to get there. And now where we are is the trail's built, so our new mantra is build the park.
The Canal Basin has a 200-year history. The Canal Basin is the reason that Cleveland exists. It's the reason that Ohio became an economic and industrial powerhouse. This area was the city's first neighborhood. You had a city on a hill laid out, but this is where all the action was. The Great Lakes carriers would come into Cleveland, offload their cargo, the canal boats would pick them up, and then start their 4-mile-an-hour journey south to deliver goods and trade throughout Ohio, but also make the connection all the way to New Orleans and the Gulf.
I'm excited about Canal Basin Park because of the history that lives there. You know, obviously the lock system that connected the Great Lakes to our great river valley and ultimately to the Ohio River and ultimately to the Mississippi River and ultimately to the Gulf. It's incredible the history that started right here at this fulcrum between the Ohio and Erie Canal.
So we wanted to create an historic physical space that would celebrate the whole trail, the canal, its history. The Canal Basin was really Cleveland's first harbor. We were a riverfront city as much as we were a lakefront city, and that will educate people and show the physical possibility.
So we want people to connect to the history. The park itself will reintroduce elements such as rewatering the basin, illustrating through creative use of water and stone where the canal was and how that connected to the river. The first phase of Canal Basin is strengthening the riverfront connection through a continuous riverfront boardwalk that will connect to the historic canal. The second phase is the pedestrianization of Merwin. Merwin is the historic center street of the Canal Basin. So the idea that we would make that purely for bike and pedestrian traffic would help to make the park feel more human scale.
The iconography of the space is incredible. I mean, to be in viewshed of the Detroit Superior Bridge, the Basco Bridge, the flats itself, you know, looking up the hills of the west side and the Ohio City neighborhood and the Tremont neighborhood, looking up the hills to the downtown, looking south to Tremont and the neighborhoods beyond in Slavic Village, and looking into the river valley. I mean, it's a place that tells a story about who we are as immigrants that have come to America and made a go of it here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Canal Basin Park will be 10 minutes from our Cleveland downtown office. So when we talk about the importance of breaks from screen time in nature, getting outdoors, what better opportunity for us to be walking advocates who walk the talk. We're also very inspired by connecting with the younger demographic that is starting to repopulate downtown Cleveland. So for younger people who are looking for fitness zones and being able to do active recreation on the riverfront, or even just a simple gathering space, the Canal Basin Park will be a perfect representation of that.
This is a place where you can share with your friends, your family, your visitors from out of town, your relatives who come by Cleveland, and you show them something really special, and that something special tells the story of who we are, as how we've evolved as the settlement here in the Western Reserve in Greater Cleveland, and how we really evolved around the river valley.
So we're reconnecting people not only to their history, but also reconnecting them to the river. We have spent more than 50 years investing in clean water here, and we all should be able to enjoy it in a myriad of ways.
There couldn't be a better place to focus our efforts on, as we've turned more toward what I call the freshwater capital. Today, you see rowers out there, you see cyclists on the towpath. It's right at the fulcrum of everything that's great about Cleveland. The national park to the south, the neighborhoods east and west, the Great Lakes to the north. It needs to be a celebratory space, and we need to finish the job. It tells our history, but more importantly, it actually gives us a future.